Hamilton and Mission transfer 1 block east on Mission Avenue to the city line.
Oh my. Great timing. I was actually looking for you.
Hamilton and Illinois. Connect here with Route 36.
first actual job. So,
You want to see all this place? That way, right beyond the plaza.
Race you over there. Line up.
seems like a nice, peaceful village.
Coming. How can I help you? You're a knight. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do for you.
I'm looking for Mark. Oh, greetings, sir. I've come to fulfill the job. I'm here to provide protection on my
Take on much bigger jobs. Just join a mercenary guild. Finding one shouldn't be a problem for a knight like you. Hell no! Definitely not at the risk of exposing my identity.
Well, as a matter of fact, I have an interest in herb picking, so this works out.
You don't say. Well, just make sure you're gentle with that client of yours.
Gentle how?
Here you go.
I see. That explains it.
Since you're so handsome looking, I have to ask Sir Knight. Do you really want
Besides, this is exactly the kind of early game mission you start with. No bones about it.
Sorry.
Just a personal matter. Now then, let us discuss the specifics of the job.
Sir Knight, could it wait? I kind of want to head out as soon as possible.
This instant. That's not a problem, but
Wonderful. Wait right there while I go get ready. Actually, my mother will be coming home soon. If she knew I was out foraging, she'd be angry. Yeah, so I'd like to keep it a secret.
does it need to be?
Well, you see, my father passed away last year. And ever since then, my mother has been raising me and my sister by herself.
She sounds like an admirable woman.
Picking herbs in the forest used to be my father's job. So I thought maybe if I did it instead, it would make things easier for him. All I want is to make my mommy happy.
She's too pure for this world.
She's still just a little girl. When I was her age, the only thing I ever wanted to do was play video games. Actually, that really didn't change once I grew up.
What's wrong? You okay, Sir Knight?
Never mind me. Really talking to myself. Now, let's go gather those herbs and surprise your mother. Adventure Point.
Sir Knight, look at what I found! This plant is called Hikora and looks like hunter scrapes. It's must be very universal. It's fresh and smells super glowing. this way. Come on.
Miss Walker, get back! I said something. Might be.
Come forth, my shadows.
Tell Kitson. If I scream, this creature's hurt.
It's deep.
It's okay. Be afraid. Tell me. You need to be scared. It's my first time trying this.
Yay! I didn't know you could use healing spells. You're like some kind of holy knight.
Pretty good use for my monk skill.
It's so cute. From the way it's running around you, I think it knows you helped.
Glad you're here. Go on. That way.
Maybe it doesn't want to. Would rather follow you.
I guess that's right.
First things first, you should give it a name.
Let's see. Green pizza. Peace. How does fried tofu or tempura sound?
I don't think it likes any of those.
I'll try harder. Still, it's nothing. How about Ponta?
and identify its victims.
Arise. Come forth, my shadows.
One swing, and it's crazy strong. Is he still pushing me? Screaming, suspended second monster with giant maxillas! Another notch on the hilt! Anything but that!
You should have seen Serenite. He was 使いのヘレンです。よろしくお願いします。魔法使いのヘレンです。よろいい感じです。美味しいですね。いい感じです。
Well, Ponta, looks like another successful job. Monsters. I should definitely continue to keep a low profile. That remains my number one priority. Still, though, it couldn't hurt to try a more challenging quest tomorrow.こちらです。この杖ですか？小さ
こちらです。ロギンは大切にしないと。こちらです。
It all kicks off in a VIP delivery room where a woman is about to give birth, casually flipping through a magazine. But her patience runs out, and she yells at the nurses to get this kid out of her already, all while still reading her magazine. Suddenly, a baby's cry echoes through the place, and a staff member rushes to congratulate the grandfather. Then everyone starts congratulating Miss Liu, who thanks his guests for their kindness. He then asks a maid where Shiquan is, and she replies that the young master had some business to attend to on Earth. The boy's grandfather is furious at his own son's absence, calling him a complete deadbeat. Just then, a strange scream comes from inside the delivery room, startling everyone outside. Worried about the situation, Missouri Blue stands up and asks what the heck is going on in there. Meanwhile, in the room, the mother is in shock from the bright light shining right in front of her. Upon entering the room, the grandfather and his men are completely frozen in place. The light was coming from the newborn, who was covered in yellow lightning, and seemed to be having a great time with it all. The baby thinks that no one would have ever guessed a commoner would be reincarnated into this family and even awaken a divine sense. A system screen appears, informing him that the lightning-type divine sense has been activated with sea-level power. The grandfather is stunned because his grandson was just born with a power he himself could never achieve. Dropping his cane, the grandfather shouts about the unparalleled, innate divine sense his grandson possesses. Grandfather picks up his grandson and celebrates, declaring that the Liu clan has finally produced a once-in-a-generation genius. However, the baby thinks that he's going to use this chance to take everything from the clan and make sure his father never gets to reincarnate again. The maids comment on how the young master is already smiling and didn't even cry, which is a sign of a noble destiny. The elder promises to use the full power of the clan to raise the boy. The newborn, who is also our protagonist, thinks that the last 6 months since he was taken out by that scumbag have felt like a dream. 1 month after reincarnating, his mother was drinking a special tonic given to her by one of her maids. As soon as she drinks the tonic, a powerful golden light starts to glow all over her body. He gained an accelerated growth ability and reached D level, even as just an embryo. He reflects on how commoners can never match the power of the clans, and how he has already reached a level that many risk their lives to achieve. But our MC wonders what kind of ability this is, as there are no records of accelerated growth. 2 months later, he faced an absorption crisis from the mother's original embryo, but received a reward. Using his accelerated growth, he devoured the original embryo and acquired its new lightning type divine sense. He's thrilled to have a lightning type divine sense, which is one of the rarest elemental abilities. The protagonist plans to use the family's best resources to nourish himself and become even stronger. 3 months later, his lightning type divine sense had already reached the intermediate stage of power. We see high heels and women's underwear scattered on the floor of his mother's bedroom. On the bed, a couple of pairs of feet are tangled up, getting pretty cozy. We see the woman with a blonde guy while her son is still in her belly. The lover asks if she isn't scared, and the lady says her marriage is just a political arrangement. The fetus overhears the man questioning his paternity, while his mother just asks for more. The MC complains that all this commotion is messing with his energy absorption rate. So he ends up releasing a lot of energy at once, making her complain that it burned her from the inside. At 6 months, his power hits peak D level, and he understands his mother's constitution. A handsome and serene face is watching. The man observes the woman's belly and wonders when the darn brat is going to be born. Inside the womb, the MC opens his eyes and glares at his father with a look full of hatred. Through his vision, he reflects the man's face and calls him a filthy one. In a flashback, we see the young man in his past life being warned about terrible beasts. One of his injured companions tells Brother Lee to get out of there as fast as he can. His friend is defeated and cries out for help, while the young man just watches. Unfortunately, his friend ended up being devoured by a hideous monster while the young man watches it all happen. With a wicked smile, the traitor orders his men to feed the beast to form the spirit core. The man smirks maliciously and mockingly as he watches his victim about to be defeated. At that moment, the young man notices a giant spike coming his way, ready to strike him. His former companion impales him with a huge branch, lifting him into the air without any mercy. The protagonist looked at the wound in his chest, shocked by the betrayal he had just suffered. The scumbag starts laughing hysterically at his enemy's pathetic moment. He mocks him, saying that's what happens when someone like him overestimates his own strength. As he's thrown away, the young man accuses him of tricking him just to feed the beasts. As he's passing on, his only worry is what will happen to his younger sisters. He remembers when he said goodbye to one of them, promising he'd be home soon. Soon after, his past self grabs a weapon and gets ready to leave for a mission. The door closes, and the 3 little girls are left alone, waiting for their brother to return. Looking at the moon through the window, the girls wonder when their big brother will come back. The back in the Prepsi, as a fetus, fills with rage and swears revenge on the one who separated him from his sisters. With his power, the fetus prepares to punch his father, who is just outside. Then the little guy lands a solid punch right in the traitor's face, catching him completely by surprise. The impact of the blow sends the man flying, and the mother is shocked by the kick she felt. The boy's father falls to the ground in immense pain, not understanding what just happened. The woman complains that the brat is already acting up before he's even properly born. The grandfather then orders the nurse to check what's happening inside that room. The staff member explains that the young master's talent is extraordinary, so his development is accelerated. She then reveals, startled, that the baby is about to be born and the mother is going into labor. The boy laments that before reincarnating, his limit was PDD level, and now he's close to a breakthrough. In immense pain, the mother screams for them to call the best delivery team as quickly as possible. When he turned 1 month old, the Liu family threw a grand celebration banquet. Several important families from Southern Zhao arrived, bringing gifts to celebrate the future. During the party, the grandfather watches a violin performance with a maid by his side. Meanwhile, our 1-month-old protagonist is calmly resting in the arms of one of the maids. One of the guests congratulates Master Liu on having a grandson, but the elder seems lost in thought. A guest congratulates the boy's father while the baby stares at the man who took him down in his past life. He becomes furious seeing the enemy who separated him from his sisters and swears revenge right then and there. In his memories, he remembers his younger sisters excited about a giant birthday cake. In his past life, he was on the phone with Brother Chen, who was complaining about him being late for a mission. The young man apologizes, and the traitor thinks that he only hired him because of rumors that he needed money. The man advises him to use his brain, and the young man thanks him for the job opportunity. His sisters waited eagerly to eat the small piece of cake on the table. The older brother says goodbye to one of them, promising he had a job but would be back soon. Then he grabs his weapon, which was kept in a bag, and prepares to leave the house. The door closes, and the 3 little girls are left alone, anxiously awaiting his return. From the window, the girls watch the moon while waiting for their dear brother to come back. Elsewhere, a man approaches a glowing portal in the middle of a dark forest. Smoking a cigarette is the same one who was congratulating young Master G at the party. Young Master G, who appears to be the leader of this dangerous operation. With his subordinates by his side, young Master G asks how the mission is progressing. The man informs him that they've been inside for a while and the beast should be well fed by now. Young Master The traitor screams in pain as the electric charge courses through his entire body. From the shock, he ends up dropping the baby, who falls hard onto the mansion floor. The women at the party are startled and look toward the noise. The musicians also stop playing, shocked by all the commotion. The boy's grandfather watches everything with a serious expression. With that, the boy's parents are shocked by what just happened. The little protagonist on the floor, the old man realizes he just made a mistake. The baby starts crying loudly to keep up appearances and fool everyone. The traitor panics at the situation and starts breaking out in a cold sweat, terrified of what might happen. Furious, the grandfather yells at the man for daring to drop the Liu family's treasure on the floor. The coward throws himself on the floor, saying it wasn't him and that the young master acted on his own. But the baby's father doesn't believe him and kicks him hard, calling the guy a dog. The kick is so strong that the man goes flying and lands hard on the mansion floor. He starts to bow and begs his master for mercy. He swears he would never hurt the boy and offers his treasures to heal him from the fall. The little one's father seems to be enjoying the whole situation and gives a mocking smile. Then the master orders them to drag the man outside and give him a good thrashing. The traitor thanks him for the punishment while the maid picks the baby back up. In the woman's arms, the little protagonist gives an evil, satisfied smirk at the result. With a bruised forehead, the enemy stares on, confused, not understanding what happened. The little one continues to scream and cry loudly to maintain his perfect disguise in front of everyone. The old traitor is shocked again that he started crying again. The grandfather orders the maid to take the young master inside and check if he was hurt in the fall. The elder scolds his son, saying that with the family's status, they don't need a useless bum like that. With a disdainful snort, the head of the family turns and leaves the party, furious about the whole mess. The boy's father is enraged by the old man's words and clenches the glass in his hand with great force. He shatters the glass cup with his bare hands. The host turns and delivers a powerful kick right to the traitor's face. Right after, he kicks him again and orders him to be dragged outside and fed to the house dogs. The guards grab him as he begs for mercy, but no one cares about his suffering. The host tells the guests to continue the party, and the baby thinks about how to absorb more power. The doctor examined the little one and says he has an incredible physique and is perfectly fine. The grandfather laughs and celebrates that his grandson suffered no harm and is in excellent health. But the most important thing for the boy now is to find his 3 sisters he left behind. He needs to grow up fast enough to move and get that woman's essence. The baby starts crying for milk and the doctor. With that, the elder orders them to call his daughter-in-law to breastfeed him and take more spiritual medicine. The boy's mother complains that she just fed him and is already completely exhausted. The family head says she must work hard for the future of the clan and for the good of her son. The woman takes off her coat and prepares to feed the baby once more, against her will. The little one opens his mouth and starts crying as he waits to be fed by his mother. The mother picks him up and stares at him with her red eyes. She starts to breastfeed him and complains that the little rascal is sucking way too hard. Seeing that his daughter-in-law is getting weak, the grandfather orders them to bring her the tonic soup. Soon after, we see the baby taking a bath with his mother in a hot spring. The woman complains that he's been sucking for a long time and asks if she owes him something from a past life. 3 months later, the baby is already crawling around the house and his power has reached sea level. In his past life, it took him a year advance from elementary D level to intermediate. Back then, he took part in many dangerous missions in portals and suffered countless injuries. He's advanced from elementary C level to intermediate in just 3 months by drinking milk. During a family dinner, the little protagonist crawls towards the main table. Furious, the grandfather complains that some idiot wasn't watching the young master and let him run around. The maid apologizes, saying the boy crawls so fast she can't keep up with him. The baby's father jokes that his son must want milk again, and the mother looks exhausted. She complains that the boy has been on her chest for 3 months and that she needs a break. But the little one thinks he can't waste time and needs to keep getting stronger and stronger. To everyone's surprise, the baby stands up on his own for the first time. The grandfather and the butler are completely shocked to see the unbelievable sight before them. The boy starts walking towards his mother, who watches him, startled. The little one jumps on her, and the mother screams for him to let her eat a meal in peace. The maid is astonished and points out that the young master is standing and walking around the room by himself. The butler comments that the boy has a celestial constitution and his development is extraordinary. The grandfather is pleased to see his grandson can already stand and watches him with pride. Then he says that according to family rules, it's time to select a personal servant for the boy. In a dark place, the elder asks about the results, and a guard says only 2 are left. In his mother's arms, the protagonist is taken to an improvised arena for the test. He watches everything intently when he suddenly recognizes one of the candidates and is shocked. In a cell, a little girl with white hair is in a defensive stance and looks frightened. On the other side, a blonde girl charges forward, yelling to attack and defeat her opponent. Shocked, the baby wonders what she's doing, and his body begins to glow intensely. Then he uses his lightning to type power to zap one of the fighting girls. With the force of the shock, the blonde girl goes flying and lands hard on the ground, knocked out instantly. The white-haired girl takes the chance to jump on the bread. Without a second thought, the girl grabs the bread and starts devouring it completely in the middle of the cell. Mother's hair is all standing on end. The protagonist panics, hoping no one noticed anything suspicious. The grandfather laughs and says his grandson has a much greater fighting spirit than his own father. But the baby thinks that the protagonist always comes up with solutions.
行ってみましょう。
Not caring about anything else around him, the baby in the crib seems very happy and calls out to his new servant with a smile on his face. Meanwhile, the mother explains that she is a death servant and must protect the grandmaster. The little white-haired girl just nods her head, accepting the invitation. He also says she must follow the master and train in martial arts while he sleeps. With that, the little maid goes to the baby's room to start a new job. Upon arriving, the boy calls to her and points to himself with a very excited smile. But the girl pulls out a knife, and her expression changes to one full of hatred and vengeance. The baby panics and tries to speak but can't because of his vocal cords. She says she's going to take him out to avenge her older brother's passing right then and there. The girl raises the weapon and prepares to attack the little one in his crib. The servant lunges with the knife at high speed, ready to hit her defenseless target. However, the boy dodges the blow with incredible agility and jumps out of the crib. He lands on the floor, leaving behind an energy silhouette, much to the girl's surprise. Then the baby reappears beside her, leaving her completely shocked and speechless. Suddenly, the girl starts to release a green aura as she prepares to fight. The protagonist is shocked to see that the girl has a wind type divine sense. With that, she attacks him with her wind power, but the baby uses his lightning to defend himself. The two energies clash, illuminating the entire room with their vibrant and intense colors. He thinks that using both his powers at the same time is too much for his baby body. He has a brilliant idea to resolve this complicated situation. So, the MC points and uses his Thunder Divine Sense at a very low power level. With that, a small sphere of lightning hits the girl. The shock paralyzes her for a moment, and she falls to the floor, unable to move properly. The little one seems relieved with the result, but is clearly very tired from the lightning. Lying on the floor, the servant can still feel the electricity running through her entire body. He approaches carefully and touches the sharp blade. That the little one cuts his finger on purpose, and a drop of blood appears on the tip. Then he uses his own blood to write a message on the floor for him. He thinks it's a good thing he's smart and managed to come up with this plan to communicate. Upon reading the message, the girl understands everything, and the baby opens his arms for a hug. But the girl attacks him again, and the baby remembers she can't leave yet. He dodges the blow and worries, because if someone sees her trying to attack him, she'll be done for. Meanwhile, the traitor walks through the mansion holding a wooden box in his hands. In a flashback, the boy's father says that he's only alive because he's still useful to him. Lying on the floor, the man thanks the young master for his mercy and promises to work harder. The master says the grandfather is furious and that he must find a way to fix the baby. The man thinks that he sold everything he had to buy a rare item at an auction. Suddenly, he hears the little master's voice and wonders what's happening in the room. With that, he opens the door and enters the room, calling for the heir of the Wu family. Upon entering, he is met with the scene of the two of them chasing each other around the room. Seeing an opportunity, the baby glares at the man with a dark look and a plan in mind. The traitor is completely confused, not understanding anything that's happening. Then the boy grabs the servant's hand and turns the knife. He uses his lightning power to give the white-haired girl a little shock on her forehead. She falls to the floor, and the baby catches the knife in mid-air, completing his perfect plan. Without hesitation, the baby stabs himself in the shoulder, and the knife becomes covered in blood. The traitor is utterly shocked by the scene and screams in terror, not believing his eyes. Next, the little boy heading towards the man watching him. With that catches the weapon in the air and raises it, not knowing what to do. In his shock, he ends up dropping the box into the room. The protagonist takes a deep breath, preparing for his big advance. Soon after, he starts wailing loudly on top of the floor. The man comes to the knife, desperate about the whole situation. At the sound, the grandfather and the others come running to see what happened. The elderly son stares with serious expressions. The little one keeps crying and tells the servant to leave him alone and protect him. Here is the grandfather points at the traitor and accuses him of trying to attack his grandson. The man throws the knife on the floor and tries to defend himself. His
気をつけていこうぜ。
Furiously asks for a gift. Desperate, the man looks for the gift.
そこだ。今だ。よし、じゃあ一丁やるか。
それじゃあ始めようか。時間の無駄を終わらせるよ。行きます。動かないで。これで終わりです。始めます。
油断したな。俺はまだ立っている。不要なのは覚悟だけだ。よし、じゃあ一丁やるか。不要なのは。
それじゃあ始めようか。時間の無駄。そろそろ片付けます。これで終わりです。始めましょうか。そろそろ片付けます。これで終わりです。
油断したな。俺はまだ立っている。今だ。今だ。
それじゃあ始めようか。時間の無駄を終わらせるよ。行きます。無駄です。弱点はそこですか。これで終わりです。敵が現れました。スピードを上げます。走りますよ。動かないで。見えました。
油断したな。俺はまだ立っている。人使い荒すぎるだろう。
And just like that, our main character now will
不要なのは覚悟だけだ。
それじゃあ始めようか。時間じゃない。
So the kid turns to the eye and just drops the bomb to her brother. The girl is like totally floored. She just freezes up, and her eyes turn a deep shade of red. Then he asks her if the cake her brother bought for her was any good. That question sends her down memory lane, and she starts getting super emotional. In her memories, she recalls her brother calling her and her other sisters to come eat some cake. The three little girls get crazy excited seeing a birthday cake right in front of them. She remembers her big brother cutting a slice of cake for his little sisters. The girl recalls him on the phone, getting orders to join his team for a mission. One of the sisters tries to snatch a piece, but another one stops her, telling her to wait for their brother. After that, the three little ones are at the window, watching the moon and waiting for him to come back. In that moment, the face of his old self appears reflected in the full moon, like a memory. In the moon's reflection, his old face blends with his current baby face. He looks at the little girl with a gentle smile, his eyes welling up with tears. Realizing it's him, she can't hold it in anymore and just starts crying. She collapses to the floor and starts bawling her eyes out, just wailing uncontrollably. He covers her mouth and shushes her so no one finds out their secret. With his tiny hand, he tries to muffle the girl's sobs so they don't get caught. Right after, she throws her arms around him, hugging him with all her might, feeling a mix of relief and happiness. Still crying, the little girl asks if the one in front of her is really her beloved son. But the hug is so tight that he complains he can't breathe in his little kid body. She lets him go, and our guy is a little dizzy, trying to catch his breath. Once he recovers, he gets serious and looks at his sister. He answers. She watches him intently, tears still streaming down her face. So he grabs her and asks how she ended up here, and where their other sisters are. With so many questions, the girl gets overwhelmed and asks her brother to slow down. Finally, the two of them calm down and get ready to talk about everything that's happened. The girl starts to explain that on that day, he left for a mission and just never came back. In a flashback, the three hungry sisters are waiting, staring at the cake he bought. One of the girls wondered why their brother was taking so long to get back. The youngest one even asks if he abandoned them, since he'd never been gone for so long. So, he he decided to go look for him and found out about his disappearance at the mission headquarters. There, she saw another hunter's wife yelling at the traitor about her husband Banshee. The guy, having zero patience, called her crazy and shoved her away forcefully. Another hunter shows up and accuses the man of going into the portal with young Master Liu and the others. In that moment, the little servant girl understood that this man was behind everything. The traitor just watches with an annoyed look on his face, casually smoking a cigarette. He unleashes his firepower, getting ready to attack his accuser. A fireball flies toward the man, who's just frozen in fear by the attack. He takes a direct hit, and his body is completely engulfed by the intense flames. The man drops to the ground, defeated, while the others just watch the scene, doing nothing. He warns them that spreading rumors about the young master is a dumb move, since the mission was high risk. Our guy says the traitor got what was coming to him for double crossing him, and then asks about the other girls. Hearing the question about the others, the little one's expression changes, and she looks really worried. She starts crying all over again, leaving her brother totally confused. Startled by his sister's sudden reaction, he worriedly asks what happened to them. Through her tears, the girl explains she just wanted to get revenge for her brother, but then a whole tide of demons just appeared out of nowhere. Flashback to a portal ripping open, and everyone is just scrambling for their lives as the invasion begins. The memory of that demonic tide has her absolutely petrified. She tears through the wrecked streets, frantically screaming the names of her other two sisters. Meanwhile, a couple hunters stroll by, casually remarking that, yep, this monster wave was a pretty nasty move. She's left standing all alone, just watching as the city burns, completely obliterated. With tears streaming down her face, she runs aimlessly through all the chaos and destruction. The poor girl continues her search alone, picking her way through the rubble of the city devastated by the invasion. With her hands all scraped up, she collapses to the ground, screaming her sisters' names in absolute despair. That's when she remembers her brother, and just breaks down, sobbing and wondering where he could possibly be. Back in the present, our MC, so main character, comforts his sister, telling her not to cry, because they've been given a second chance. His eyes flash red as he vows that some guy named Chen is going to be the very first to pay for this. In some dark and grimy prison, we cut to a hallway that's just splattered with stains. The traitor is locked up, screaming his head off that he's innocent, and was just there to deliver a gift. Next thing you know, he's slammed against the cell bars, a look of pure terror on his face. Because surprise, a demon materializes right behind the terrified prisoner. The traitor drops to his knees, begging for his life as the creature closes in, its tongue lolling out. All we hear is a horrified scream, and suddenly, the prison hallway has a few more red stains. The traitor out of the picture, our MC declares it's time to turn the entire Liu family upside down. Tears still in her eyes, his sister agrees, promising she'll do whatever he says. That's when she remembers she has a very important mission to take care of with our MC. So, she just hoists him into the air, announcing it's bath time, but he protests, yelling that he's her brother. But the girl explains that now, she's his personal attendant, and this is her daily mission. And just like that, she starts carrying him off to the bathroom, all while he's screaming bloody murder that he absolutely, positively does not want a bath. Cut to the bathroom, where our MC is now sitting in a wash basin as she gets everything ready for his bath. She walks up to him and says it's time to get his clothes off, but our MC insists he can handle it himself. But she's not listening, and with a grin, she just eats his clothes right into the air. She looks down and chirps about how cute his little fella is. Our MC is absolutely mortified, basically dying on the inside from the sheer awkwardness of it all. Super embarrassed, he yells at her not to look, reminding her yet again that this is SO not okay. She then declares that since she's bigger now, it's her turn to give him a bath. Shocked, the MC asks what in the world she's doing as she starts taking off her own clothes. The boy covers his eyes, completely embarrassed by her actions. Then she gets into the tub, wrapped in a towel, leaving the boy totally stunned. While she's washing him, she vents about how much people are suffering out there, while the rich just waste everything. Our MC gets furious and says that justice is something you have to take with your own hands.
頑張れよ
With that, his face sets into a look of fierce determination to change their reality. A moment later, the girl offers to scrub him, better, sending him into a full
Take it
blown
off.
panic. They start bickering because he refuses, but she insists she was instructed to do it. After the bath, the boy is lying on the floor while his sister puts away his clothes. He's thinking how he wants to be made and get treated like a little
よし
kid.
じゃあ一丁やるか
He just turns his
俺
face
は
away.
まだ立っている
She gets sad and complains that he's never been this mean to her before. To avoid more conversation, just lets out a sigh. But then he gets up, says he's not mad anymore, and that he has something important to ask. The girl smiles sweetly and tells him to go ahead and ask whatever he wants, no problem. So, he questions if she has awakened mid-element abilities, and his sister confirms that because the earliest recorded ability was at age 12. He wonders how he managed to go off shakes her head and says she's not really sure. She explains that a panel just popped up, showing her stats and guiding her to a
So
location.
so,
RMC is completely blown away to hear the word panel. And that is his own system, the one that displays his thunder abilities. He glances at the interface and wonders if her dialogue box is the same as his. Then he asks himself how his sister also got a panel and awakens so incredibly young. He checks it out and asks if something's wrong, but he just brushes it off. He tells her that now she needs to train hard to get strong. With a determined look, the little girl resolves that she's going to train super hard to get strong. He pats her on the head and says that out of all suddenly, they both hear a knock at their bedroom door and freeze. A maid announces that dinner is ready, that the master ordered their mother to prepare some milk for him. She hands a full baby bottle to the MC's sister, who just stares at it surprised. She takes the bottle, and our MC walks over to her with a new plan already forming in his mind. He says they need to use every resource the Lee family has to get stronger and fast. The girl asks how they're supposed to do that, since she's already training as hard as she can to level up. With a mischievous grin, she opens her mouth and discovers a secret ingredient. Although she's a little hesitant, they are able to following his order, she starts drinking the milk while our MC makes her. All of a sudden, purple air starts swirling around her, and she Our MC explains that their mother's unique constitution turns crystals into something like pure energy. He says it's a substance that's squad that is charged with missions. If their mom can produce this energy, his sister is shocked, commenting that this is something unheard of. Our MC suspects that the older families are hiding secrets and manipulating the masses into fighting their battles. His sister then offers him some, telling him to drink some too so he can get stronger. He refuses, telling her to the power limit. Then he starts walking away, his eyes fixed on his sister. She says out loud, arriving at his mother's room, the maid runs around. The next thing we see is directly from his mother in the household. The woman complains that she's already provided so much milk that the little brat just eats and eats without stopping. One of the maids quickly orders the others to prepare more medicinal meals for the madam. Our MC thinks to himself that the revenge starts now, and that he and his sister are about to end the very order of the heavens. As lightning crashes down over the mansion, he swears that he will turn the Wu family completely upside down. Our hero crawls across his bedroom floor, a determined look on his face as he searches for something. Meanwhile, we get a flashback of the traitor freaking out, screaming that the gift was missing as he frantically looks for it. Then our MC peeks under a piece of furniture and spots the little box the traitor dropped. With a satisfied smirk, he grabs the gift, figuring it must be something incredibly valuable to the family. He then opens the box and an intense blue light illuminates his tiny face. Inside, he finds a large blue crystal and wonders if it's a magic beast crystal. A system panel immediately pops up, informing him that it's a rare thunder element skill crystal. RMC is confused, as he had no idea skills could be absorbed instead of cultivated. The system explains that after hunting evolved beasts, there's a chance to get these rare items. Our little guy is surprised that something like this even exists, but gets suspicious, asking how the voice knows his thoughts. In that moment, he's totally shocked, a look of pure panic on his face as he realizes what's happening. The voice says it's in his consciousness, and he scoffs, saying he knows all about these tropes from novels. He remembers that in his past life, he was a student addicted to games and web novels that had systems. In those stories, the main characters get rewards and turn the tables, getting revenge on their enemies. Furious, he yells that the system is useless, but the voice retorts that without it, he wouldn't have even been reincarnated. The MC pauses, thinks for a moment, and has to admit the mysterious voice has a point. With his arms crossed, he then questions its connection to his little sister's system. The voice denies any sort of link and urges him to get stronger and fast. He agrees and gets focused, knowing he needs to take every opportunity he can get. He then sits down and
わかったよ。
いい選択だね。行ってみましょう。
He's completely floored, having just acquired a skill that should have taken 10 years to learn. He feels the power condensed in his spirit and wonders just how strong it is. Without a second thought, he hurls the weapon willingly his way to test out his ability. The protagonist watches as his powerful electric attack flies through the air. The sound of the explosion gets the grandfather's attention, who comes running with the butler to see what happened. But what they find is the boy's father in his SpongeBob underwear, complaining to the MC's mom about the noise. The grandfather and the MC's little sister are completely floored by the scene. The boy looks at the giant hole he just blasted in the mansion wall with his new skill. Furious, the grandfather demands to know who did it, and the butler explains he heard a lightning bolt come from the roof. But upon seeing his grandson, no man's mood flips, and he lifts him up, celebrating his newfound skill. He then praises the boy's mother, thanking her so for the family. However, the boy's father seems irritated by the whole situation and complains about the noise he made. At that, the grandfather scolds him, saying he should be proud of his son's exceptional talent. The grandfather then decides he will take his grandson to the family's annual hunting festival. A moment later, the family head asks for money, and everything is arranged for it. The old man laughs, saying his descendants live to grow from a young age. Cradled in his mother's arms, our protagonist is annoyed, having no idea what they're planning. And so, the group walks down a long hallway. Once there, the grandfather uses his energy to open a massive circular gate in front of him. The gate opens, revealing a large, swirling vortex of bright purple energy to everyone. Standing before the dimensional portal, the family head prepares to lead the group inside. The MC is stunned, realizing the Lee family can open dimensional portals all by themselves. He gets angry thinking about how many secrets the powerful hide from them, who are just struggling to survive. The group then steps through the portal and arrives in a dense, quiet forest on the other side. While the grandfather praises him, the MC's mom complains that he never stops eating all day. Suddenly, the MC's father points to the sky and yells a warning that something is approaching. Everyone looks up to see a smoke trail closing in on them rapidly. The mysterious thing zips through the trees at incredible speed. Soon, a giant multi-headed serpent appears and brutally attacks a group of hunters. One hunter tries to strike the creature, but his weapon shatters, while another uses a force field to defend himself. When he sees a sea-ray python, the protagonist and his sister are in shock, and the girl recognizes him. Just then, one of the serpent's hands pulls in. To everyone's surprise, the red-haired girl manages to pull the creature's mouth open to the noise. But she's struggling with all her might to avoid being bitten by the giant monster's sharp fangs. Even so, the serpent's strength is too great, and it knocks her away with a single blow. The hunter's leader then yells for everyone to fight as they retreat from the dangerous area. The group's leader tries to fend off the monster with a shield, but another hunter tries to attack him from behind. The red-haired girl runs and screams desperately for him to watch out. But the hunter's punch goes right through the shield, hitting the captain with full force. The force of the punch makes the hunter fighting the serpent lose his shield. At that moment, the giant serpent is struck by a purple lightning bolt coming from another hunter. Another hunter yells furiously at the traitor for attacking their captain. The traitor just smiles wickedly as he prepares to attack the other man. With a violent blow, he mercilessly attacks the hunter, leaving him gravely injured. One of the other hunters is shocked, as he seems to have recognized the attacker. He reveals that the man is Kui Aishong, a criminal who had been convicted before. Kui Aishong starts laughing like a maniac at the hunter's desperation. He then kicks the man, sending him flying with incredible force. The injured hunter soars right into the mouth of the giant serpent, which was waiting for him. Our little protagonist watches it all with a grim expression. He remembers his past life when Kui Aishong threw a friend to his doom. A splash of blood appears, symbolizing what just happened. Back then, he watched his friends get taken out one by one. The monster they were feeding with their own comrades emerges, imposing and terrifying. With a cruel smile, the MC's father orders them to feed the creature to form a treasure. He then tells Kui Aishong to attack our hero's past self, without a second thought. The henchman rushes toward the young man, ready to deliver the meal, but the guy activates his power and races for the inevitable clash with his enemy. As fist blows with a powerful energy as he closes in, their two fists collide in a violent, power-filled impact. He tells us that Kui Aishong is like a demon who loves to crush people. It's revealed that he was protected by the Lee family and is now one of their groups. Back in the present, his sister wonders how they can possibly save the red-haired girl. But our protagonist seems to have an idea, and his eyes gleam, a plan already forming in his mind. So, he turns around and starts feeding again, which really ticks off his mom. She asks what in the world he's doing as our MC fills his mouth with milk, making a weird face. He spits everything out, leaving her completely shocked. Disgusted, she screams at our hero for getting her all messy and just eats him into the air. Seeing the commotion, the boy's grandpa gets this furious look on his face because of the whole mess. Right after MC's little sister leaps into action. Just like that, she catches our hero mid-air, saving him from the fall. The girl lands safely on the ground, holding her little brother carefully in her arms. She asks if her brother is okay, and he explains his master plan to create chaos to save the hunter. Suddenly, our young man's father slaps his wife hard across the face, leaving her completely stunned. He then grabs her firmly and scolds her for being so careless with their son. Furious, the woman says that not even her own parents ever dared to lay a finger on her, and she gets incredibly angry. With that, she summons an ice weapon and goes right after her husband, looking for revenge. The man defends himself with his powers, saying she needs to be taught a lesson for her audacity. The kids watch intently as the fight unfolds right in front of them. The mother and father clash with their abilities, but a burst of energy suddenly appears between them. The boy's grandfather shows up, and the MC's parents just stare at him. The grandfather says that as a mother, she must put her son first and not be so reckless. With a furious glare, he tells them they both carry the responsibility for both of their families. At that, the couple calms down and dismisses their weapons, while the children watch from a distance. The MC's sister asks what they'll do now, but he tells her not to worry because they are coming. Suddenly, the young maid hears a strange noise. The butler informs the grandfather that he sensed movement coming from the nearby woods. The family also notices something approaching and goes on high alert. Just then, 3 goblins emerge from the forest with some really weird expressions on their faces. From a higher vantage point, we see the goblins starting to close in on the MC's family. The creatures start screaming desperately, as if they're gearing up for a battle. Next thing you know, the 3 monsters are impaled by wooden stakes that pierce right through them mercilessly. The MC's father wonders how this is possible, since the area was supposed to have been cleared beforehand. The grandfather complains, "This is what happens when all you know is how to cause trouble in bars instead of hitting the horse." Just then, the boy's mother starts to glow with a purple energy. The little sister explains that their mother's essence attracts demonic beasts, especially high-level ones. With that, the sounds of many goblin feet start getting closer, putting the group on edge. Then a horde of elite goblins appears before them, led by a D-rank. One of the monsters leaps toward the family, its axe ready to strike without mercy. Unfazed, the grandfather orders his subordinates to handle the situation immediately. And just like that, the family starts fighting the monsters using their powerful elemental abilities. Taking advantage of all the chaos, our MC tells his sister it's time for them to get out of there. So, the girl runs towards a cliff with her little brother in her arms. Without a second thought, the MC's sister jumps off the cliff, plummeting at high speed with our young hero. In that instant, the girl's eyes glow intensely as she activates her special ability. Using her wind power, she begins to fly through the skies, carrying her brother to safety. Our MC asks when she learned to fly, and she says it was a reward from the system. Surprised by this revelation, our MC gets flustered and asks what kind of task it was. The girl reveals with a smile that the system's task was simply to give her brother a bath. In a flashback, we see that upon completion, she received a rare flight technique as a reward. Our MC gives her for such a silly task.
Yes!
You
can't avoid
sharp sword. But then another enormous serpent appears against the other hunter.
Red flower technique type 1.
The creature sends one of them completely breaking the fall. Down on the ground,
I'll end this!
I see it all.
It's no use. It's over.
The villain replies that laws are only for the weak and for commoners like him, and that he couldn't care less. Right after he went towards the capital
Punishment.
Instead, he attacks one of the people, catching her off guard with his power. Defeated, the woman begs
You can't avoid it!
a heartless man.
Tearing through.
The traitors go directly into the giant prison.
This will be it.
Your way!
In despair, Captain Weldon tells everyone to run.
Too slow. Red flower technique type 1.
Blinded by rage, the group leader tries to hold his sword, screaming that he's going to finish the fight.
I'll shred you!
But the villain moves quickly and dodges the attack. In an instant, the traitor counter-attacks and lands a direct hit on the captain. Seeing her leading naked, the young woman calls the man
I need to hunt efficiently.
trying to buy some time. But the traitor doesn't even flinch since the rock
Open it!
blows his wrist apart. The villain
Punishment! You can't avoid it!
Red flower technique type 1.
Terrified, the young man is surrounded by
Counter
the
too slow.
At the last second, the captain throws himself in front of him, a fatal blow.
Punishment!
Emilia falls lifeless to the ground as the traitor simply ignores him and moves on. The traitor crosses the desperate, nobody it's over. The giant serpent devouring the captain. Punishment. The villain looks at the girl and says it's a shame. He wanted to add her to his collection.
This will be your grave.
The villain then places his hand on her face as she cries. In her final moments, the girl cries out for her siblings, wondering where they are. Suddenly, the giant lightning sword appears. The voice says they've arrived to save her. The traitor turns and manages to block the powerful attack with his arm. The strike causes a burst of yellow energy, but the villain just swats it away. The young woman looks up in surprise and calls out her sister's name, Wei Yi. Just then, our MC and his sister land on the ground, ready for battle. The villain
This is the end. Punishment. You can't avoid this. Likewise.
Facing the serpent are
Dispel you.
something that's never been reported before. At the same time, the villain looks like
Counterattack.
punishment. With a final push, he unleashes all his power at once, shattering whatever is holding him back. The baddie then rolls and stops.
It's over. Tear it apart. Punishment. Open it. Oh, shred you. Come on. Enough with the jokes. This will be your grave. Damn it.
Allowing him to merge weapons with his own body. Our protagonist then analyzes their power levels and realizes the gap between them is just massive. But then an idea sparks in our protagonist's mind and his eyes light up. He turns to his sisters and tells them to listen carefully and follow his lead. On the other side, the adversary gets ready to fight as a strange energy radiates from him. The villain launches a lightning fast attack with his claws, aimed straight at our MC. Seeing the danger, his sisters jump back and he prepares to counter. He then activates his divine lightning, type awakening, unleashing an immense yellow energy. Our protagonist uses his power to dodge the villain's attacks at super speed. The villain is floored when he sees the kid's technique, recognizing it as a forbidden move. He then remembers that a while back, he defeated someone who used that exact same technique. In his memories, he recalls the showdown against our protagonist's past life. Connecting the dots, he realizes who the kid is and starts laughing at the insane coincidence. However, our MC's child-sized body can't handle that much power and begins to fail. Knowing he only has one shot, he yells his sisters' names to kick off the real plan. The villain hears a noise and whips his head toward the sound. In that moment, the red-haired sister appears, holding a giant boulder, ready to crush the enemy. Without a second thought, the girl hurls the massive rock right at the villain. But the enemy dodges the attack with ease, and the boulder shatters on the ground from the impact. He then notices a weird sound and a trail of green energy, moving quickly across the ground. The man immediately goes on high alert, seeing the energy coming his way, ready for anything. Suddenly, a gigantic storm of wind and dust forms right in front of him. The one behind this attack is the other sister, using her wind ability. Even inside the tornado, the adversary is completely unfazed, saying these are just cheap tricks. Seizing the distraction, our protagonist focuses his power and creates a full, strength lightning spear. Using a divine martial arts technique, he throws the weapon with every ounce of strength his body has left. The villain spins around, surprised, and curses our MC for being so crafty as he braces for the hit. The lightning spear strikes the bad guy square in the head, severely injuring him on impact. The attack is so powerful it goes straight through the adversary and continues its path up into the sky. The spear's energy causes a massive explosion, leaving a trail of destruction in the forest. Exhausted, our MC collapses, and his sister immediately starts chewing him out for using such a reckless move. With that, both girls watch over him, super worried about his condition after he pushed himself so hard. Even though he's injured, the villain just smiles and says as it doesn't matter, because he's going to protect the young master from the two little girls. With a creepy grin, he reveals a sharp blade, ready to go all out again. Wasting no time, he dashes toward the two girls at high speed to finish them off. The servant girl yells a warning and leaps in front of the redhead to shield her from the enemy's incoming attack. With a brutal blow, he lands a direct hit on the white-haired girl with incredible force. The The impact sends her flying, and she ends up slamming hard against a tree. The villain then stares down the other young woman and tells her not to worry, her turn is coming right up. He morphs his hands into sharp blades and prepares for his next merciless attack. With his blades, he pins the young woman down and tells her to be good bait for his plans. But a yellow bolt of lightning zaps in and deflects the attack, saving the girl at the very last second. The enemy then takes aim at the protagonist, ready to run him through with his small dagger. He quickly ducks tightly and brings it down, fully intending to end the boy right there. The blade then pierces our MC's back, injuring him badly. The villain sends him flying while the red, haired sister launches and moves. The girl then manages to break the blade and grabs her injured brother and makes a run. The villain clenches his fist, asking why our MC is in such a hurry.
He's all mine.
About to be taken down. With his eyes bleeding, the adversary is furious at the
Red flower technique type 1. Falling cross.
yelling and calling him an ungrateful man, preparing to attack his master. This is our MC's grandfather, who is glaring at him with eyes full of rage. Oh, shred you! The flashing attack is actually to get the family.
Oh, end this!
Jeff smiles, confirming the clever plan.
Red flower technique type 1. Falling
And Booker sets the young man. The father claims that the kid can already walk, and the butler informs him that
Light rock.
has also
Destroy them all. It's over. It's no use. This is the end.
The grandfather immediately sizes up the situation. The villain starts to flee. He thinks his only chance is to capture the protagonist.
Red flower technique type 1. Falling
You
can't avoid.
But the red-haired sister whips out a staff and prepares to counter him, attacking his younger brother. She unleashes a powerful blow on the enemy, totally unexpected.
Tearing through.
The man is stunned by the girl's attack.
Light rock.
All of a sudden, the protagonist furious and calls the villain.
Come on.
Claiming none of it was his fault. However, the man ends up falling by one of the area's
Destroy them all.
Without mercy, the creature attacks him all at once, giving him zero chance to escape. After that, the serpent begins to evolve, transforming into a mighty golden creature. The butler rushes over to the children and says that our MC is okay, despite the wound he took. The grandfather praises the girls and says the serpent is now ready to depart from the
This will be.
With that, the grandfather
You're brave. You can't avoid.
generates a gigantic
end this. Red flower technique type 1. Falling cross.
that rips through the entire forest. Out of the smoke, two children emerge and the kids watch everything unfold for the city. Our hero then puts two and two together, the noble family of civilians to feed and level up these beasts. Right after Grandpa and Dad
Red flower technique type 1. Falling cross. It's no use. It's over.